Well, seeing as how 2021 is off to a great start, why don't we return to a more simpler time, or rather a time where the world wasn't burning up? A time where I didn't even know about anime and GTA 5 had just been released and I totally went to school that day. Yep, it was just like it happened yesterday. Back in 2013, I downloaded onto my iPod. Remember when those things still existed? I downloaded legally an anime I heard about called High School of the Dead, or HOTD. So why don't we go through its convoluted fan service filled episodes to try and find that sparkle of joy I found all those years ago. It all begins with a voice telling us it remembers what had happened prior to the fall, as if we already didn't know what was going to happen. Zombies, guns, and a load of women. Hell yeah. Whoa. Wait, hold on. Well, first, let's get our man of the hour out of the way. He's your average everyday high school student, Takeshi Kimuro, running with his friend on the roof that is about to get pretty awkward, trust me. Hayashi Ego and Hayashi's girlfriend and Takeshi's ex, see what I meant there? Rei Miyamoto, from what seems to be a group of horde zombies. Rei decides to fight a zombie on the stairs, for some reason that I'll get into much later. Trust me, it makes no sense. Only to get her ass slammed against the wall, and just as she's about to get chomped on, her boyfriend Hayashi steps in and smashes that zombie brain in. Meanwhile, our boy Takeshi decides that now is a good time to yell what's going on. Now, I'm not going to mention the studio's animation, because it's pretty nice, at least I think so. I mean, it's no Studio Ghibli, but it's not bad like some of the other stuff I've seen, like Queen Bee animations, for example, where the characters look like my 6th grade PowerPoint presentation. Regardless, the next minutes are just introductions to the various characters we'll meet later on. We have Saya Tagagi, the girl who is rude and calls you stupid no matter how smart or cool you are. Kohara Hirino, the background glasses character you will forget by the time the anime is over. Shizuka Mirakawa, the sleepiest school nurse who I often wondered watching the show how the hell did she even keep her job before the apocalypse, with her being that sleepy and often napping throughout the whole anime. Well, after Saya seemingly done roasting our boy Takeshi, we learn a little bit about his past relationship with Rei, and how they actually dated and made a promise to each other to marry when they were of age. Only for Rei to dump his ass and choose his friend Hayashi because he had changed? Yeah, this part honestly wasn't explained too well, and the relationship between Rei and Takeshi overall feels kind of forced, especially with this beginning part where it just shows that she dumped him, only for them to kinda be together around the mid to end sections. Regardless, while being depressed for a bit, Takeshi notices a man limp to the school gate, and before realizing it, 3 teachers confront the strange man, only for the gym teacher to get bitten while trying to show off. While the COVID spreads from strange man to gym bro, Takeshi does what probably no man would do, and tries to warn his ex Rei and friend Hayashi. After some heated yelling in front of everyone in class, he does the ultimate Chad move and slaps the color and soul right out of her. And Hayashi just watches all this happen. I'm no expert when it comes to dating, but if somebody hits your girl, I'm sure there would be a fight happening. Well, afterwards, our 3 main characters leave, and before long, we're introduced to our first zombie, to which Rei proceeds to completely whip its ass, showing us just how strong she really is. But she makes the mistake of stabbing the zombie thinking she kills it, which sadly means that this zombie just overpowers her completely, and just as she's about to be bitten, Masashi grabs it to pull it from behind and hold it back. I honestly don't know what his next plan was after this. It's not like he had any weapons or anything, so I imagine he was just gonna throw it on the floor and maybe stomp it out or something. But regardless, this zombie does something that surprised even me, and to be honest was the first time I've ever seen it. It completely turns its head all the way around and bites our man Hasashi right in the arm. Yeah, these zombies aren't fucking around, that's for sure. I guess you can infer that our boy here just isn't gonna survive for the next episode. So Takeshi does what he's good at and what I wouldn't do, and completely smashes that zombie head in with a bat. Good guy Takashi. And so our heroes run to the roof, and thus the anime picks up right from where it left off at the start. Now here's where things start to get dicey. See, some characters do things that they know they should not do or act upon. For example, Rei deciding to fight this zombie at the stairs, and instead of smashing said zombie's head in, she goes for a body shot. Which, I don't know about you, but these zombies have shown that they don't give a fuck where you hit them. Not to mention the last zombie she tried to fight actually grabbed her lance stick. So her getting slammed against the wall by this thing, knowing full well that these things were stronger than her, makes it seem like she learned next to nothing fighting these things. But who cares, right? Because that's not what you or I are here for. We're here to see that panty shot. And what do we get exactly? Exactly that. Thank you, Mr. Zombie. Well, all it takes is for Hasashi to step right in and smash that zombie head in once again, and then we're off to the roof. Which, honestly, this part is actually really well done. The final moments of Hasashi, where he tells Takashi to kill him so he doesn't turn into one of those monsters, while also telling Rei to stay strong, is honestly pretty well done. It's pretty sad, and honestly, if it wasn't for all the fuckery that was the roof, I'd say it deserves to be on top 10 anime sad moments. The way they portray Hasashi's sadness and what the odds are stacked against him as a couple of students was really well done. This final scene makes me wish that Hasashi had stayed alive just a bit longer to get a sort of rivalry between the two towards the same girl within the apocalypse. We could have seen Hasashi and maybe Takashi agree on certain things and disagree on others, and maybe leading to them possibly fighting and killing each other over this one girl that they like. This would have created a lot more depth to their characters than just simple high school badasses who are trying to survive the apocalypse, but instead meaningful and honest characters that just have to make very tough decisions during a time where it's pretty obvious that not even the government is there to help. The anime does a really great job of giving us exposition as to how these zombies behave and how they use sound to locate where the student is rather than seeing or smelling them. This idea is great and it highlights some of the great writing that this show gives us. However, sometimes the show tends to forget some of the rules it creates, especially this one with the sound, which I will touch on much later, especially on a certain mountain scene where it doesn't really make sense. It almost seems like sometimes the anime forgets some of the rules it creates on its own. Well, regardless, in another part of the school, students Kohara and Saya team up, with it being Saya who discovers that these creatures use sound to hunt humans. However, because she's that rude anime character, she then decides to yell at Kohara. This compromises their spot, which has them escape into a classroom where Kohara creates a DIY nail gun, which honestly is pretty badass, but he is still the glasses character, so eventually we'll forget about him until the story needs him. We're also introduced to another character, Seiko Bujima, who saves our sleepy-headed nurse Shizuka. Overall, Seiko is by far the most qualified student to be fighting these zombies. With a broken wind sword, she and Shizuka meet up with Takeshi and the gang. They all rest for a bit and catch up on the events before turning on the news and realizing that these events, they aren't just happening in the school. In fact, it's happening all over Japan. As their gang makes their way through the school, they're finally able to break free out of it and end up in the school parking lot with all the buses. Just as they're about to leave, however, they decide to save another group of survivors with a certain teacher. Yeah, this guy is called Koichi Shido, and if you thought Shido from Persona 5 was bad, well, get ready, because this guy, yeah, he's more of an asshole to everybody, and he's kind of got this whole culty vibe to him. After some back and forth banter between Rei and Shido, I mean, can you blame her? This guy is an asshole and a bit of a creep. Our group's bus gets crashed into by another bus driver, and our main characters are separated with a promise to meet at a police station. They leave, and it's back to surviving on foot for Takeshi and Rei. This next part is mostly just filler. Rei and Takeshi find the gun at a crashed cop car, where they then go to a gas station with a motorcycle they found, only to be attacked by a wannabe Los Vagos gang member who tries to kidnap Rei, only to be shot by Takeshi and then killed by zombies while being left for dead. Meanwhile, Seiko, Koda, Shizuka, and Saya decide now is the time to ditch Shido and leave the bus, and Shido's been acting all culty, and those other people in the car are kind of starting to follow him. Shido tries to stop them by saying how only the strong survive, and if they stick together, they'll be the strongest out of everyone. Koda, seemingly being tired of hearing Shido's big mouth, decides to shoot Shido, just barely grazing his cheek, while stating that he missed on purpose, and that they are getting off the bus, and if he tries to stop him, he has no issue killing him. Nice guy, Koda. Our main characters start fighting on the bridge against zombies, where, by some miracle, Takeshi and Rei do a badass entrance on their motorcycle, and then they barely manage to escape the zombie horde, and just show us how much of a badass they all truly are with their weapons. Hey, that's a cool fight. You check it out. It's all over YouTube. It looks amazing every time I see it. Okay, Evie, you know this next part might get you banned on YouTube, and it's the main reason people watch High School of the Dead. You can do this. So, our heroes go to Shizuka's friend's apartment house, where they find multiple guns, not bad, and a large shower room. So, that's right, you guessed it. our female characters decide now is the time to shower, and yeah, you can probably guess where this is going. Episode 6 is mostly just fan service. There's a little bit of story in there with some officers not wanting to shoot the zombies, thinking they're still people, and one of the officers even commits suicide. But hey, who cares about all that, right? At least we get to see Sayako dressed as a maid, so hey, it's a win-win for me, it's a win-win for you. And of course, last but certainly not least, our final 2 survivors, Arisu and Zeke. Okay, I'm gonna be real with you guys here. I know it's the apocalypse, but fuck these people for killing Arisu's father. Honestly, she is too cute, and like I said, this part of her father dying is so screwed up that honestly, it just made me feel pretty unhappy, and I felt like I had to print out a picture of each one of these guys' family members just to punch it out or something. Sorry, got to get that out of the way. Well, unlike me, Koda decides enough is enough and lays down some sniper fire to protect Arisu while Takeshi goes in to save her. Yeah, he does the most ballsiest thing I've ever seen, I think, and that's carrying her on her shoulders while keeping his balance to make sure he doesn't fall. What? He's not even surviving at this point, guys. His point is just to show off as the main character. The other survivors eventually do show up and make a final stand before ditching the apartment, and they once again escape on their newly found military Humvee that's apparently owned by the owner of the apartment that they were in. Anyways, as the gang escapes, they drive away and towards Tagagi's house since it is the closest one. Everything is normal as they're driving until they run through a zombie horde before eventually hitting what seems to be a wire barrier. The force of the Humvee braking has enough of it to have Ray completely fly off the Humvee and onto the hard concrete floor. This has Takeshi jump out of the Humvee and try and protect her from the oncoming zombie horde. Of course, he then shows us why he was never good with football, as when he proceeds to take out a bullet to reload his gun, all of the bullets just magically flow all over the floor. At this point, it's pretty obvious what's about to happen. He does the one thing that you've all seen before and that I sure as hell am gonna show. He grabs Ray's sniper, puts it over her boobs, and then proceeds to shoot zombies as they are coming close to her. What? I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I don't know which is more impressive. The fact that boobs work so perfect as recoil control for this sniper, or the fact that her boobs just don't get completely ripped off from the force of the sniper. Well, after running out of bullets, a final stand is done, and yeah, you can tell that something bad's about to happen. It's pretty obvious from the looks of it that these characters might just die. Only then, as the final moments show that they might be dead, Saya's mom and her military squad intervene, thus saving our characters. Our characters Takashi and Seiko are once again split away from the group, which, you know what this means for the next episode, it's a filler one. Okay, so I have a problem with this filler episode, and it's not the fact that it's a filler, but the fact that the zombies don't act like they're supposed to. Remember how in the beginning, the zombies moved based off sound? Well, for some reason, these zombies are actually following Seiko and Takeshi up this mountain towards this old temple-looking place, where she finds a katana. Now, they kind of stalk her in the way they do with smell, which, if you remember, these zombies do not use smell, but instead use sound. So this is what I was saying when this anime sometimes forgets its own rules. Not to mention that prior, when they got separated, Takeshi was slamming the shotgun against the rail in an effort to make sound, but it wasn't working because the groans and moans of his group was what kept the zombies from going towards them. So I don't know what the zombies use, honestly. I don't know if they can see or smell or even taste, but yeah, this anime needs to explain this part a little bit better. Eventually, they fight their way through the temple place, I guess. I don't know, is this supposed to be a temple or a shrine? Regardless, they fight down the mountain and make it to Saya's house. Yeah, Saya's house is pretty much a really big compound slash mansion. And Saya's dad is kind of a hard ass, but with good reasons. He is a military dad, so hey, can you blame him? He gives Sayako a rare sword, which honestly looks pretty badass, while also ensuring that Shido gets completely disrespected and kicked out, since apparently they were planning to go in there and possibly do some shenanigans. Meanwhile, the government enacts a plan to EMP all of Japan? Well, we actually don't know why this happens. I doubt these zombies know how to operate nuclear warheads, so for now we'll say that it's the government that decided to do this. Meanwhile, a large zombie horde plans its attack on the Saya residence, And since it's all going down in flames and it's obvious there's not going to be a recovery from this, Saya's father tells Takeshi and his gang to escape and keep his daughter Saya safe. They're given their Humvee that they originally had, except this time it's been fixed and modified, and our crew rides out in style. After this, the next goal of the anime is actually to locate Takeshi's parents and any of the other main characters' parents. You're still here? What's wrong with you? Well, that's basically it. We don't know what happens next after this. Season 2 was teased, but it's now 2021, and I doubt this 7-year-old show is gonna get a season 2. Many plot points are still in the air, from the government to how these zombies even came to be to if there even is a cure. There is a non-canon OVA that I might review, but honestly, if you haven't checked the show out overall, I'd give it about 6 queen bees out of 9. It's a really well done show, with some parts that do drag on a bit, but those heartfelt moments are there, and when they're there, they're done really good. Honestly, I'm glad this was my first anime, because the next one after this, oh boy. If you don't know what anime feels are, let's just say Clanad will give you some true anime feels. This is just the first of many anime reviews I'll be doing over the course of probably the whole year. You know, with the whole COVID thing, I got really nothing else to do, so hey, I thought why not do this? If you haven't already, hit the like button and make sure to subscribe, and comment on which video you would like to see next. This has been ChipCube with a bird's eye view review, and I'll see you guys on the next video.